Sitting in the corner of my living room. Sitting in the corner of my living room. Anyway, let me stop being silly. I'm saying don't try to be, I gotta be Mr. Oh, I'm a martial artist. No, just straight up. You know what I always like to talk about? People saying that they want like conscious rap music, but they don't want to pay for it.
Right.
They want people to be positive, but they don't want to pay for it.
Right. I feel like that's bullshit.
Why?
Because they really, like, here's the thing. A lot of people, like, it's like Karis once said, they don't respect conscious music, but they don't like gangster music.
Mm-hmm.
But yet the thing they don't like the most is what they worship the most. The thing they don't respect the most, they hate the most.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no avenue to do conscious music in America, probably in the world period, but definitely not here. Not in this day and age with all this bullshit, feminism and racism.
Mm-hmm.
There's just too much division on that for I had everybody come together. And if people do that, the person usually bring everybody together. They end up like Jesus and up a martyr.
Now, I don't think it's all. I don't think it's even that complex. I think it's very binary. I think it's two things in the Bible. You have walking in the flesh.
Right.
You have walking in the spirit.
Yeah.
So, if you cater to the flesh, you're gonna get more people.
Right.
That's gonna be into what you're doing than if you cater into the spirit. It's how many people are really truly spiritual? People say they spiritual and they say I'm this and they say I'm that. I'm guilty of it too. We say that we all this other stuff, but what are we really though? How are we really at?
Like demons.
Yeah. Now, since the main name of this channel is martial arts over there, we got hip hop overtones. I'm trying to weave into it more though. How does that manifest itself in martial arts?
Like a lot of people say they want to learn how to protect themselves with self-defense. But yet they just want to beat people into the ground like it's MMA.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of MMA, why is MMA so popular?
It's all the blood.
Mm-hmm. MMA is popular because
it's a blood sport.
People want to see people get beat up. They do. Now, they may not want to put their kids in MMA, but they want to see people get their heads bashed, and they do. As much as people say that MMA is brutal, MMA is barbaric, why is it so popular?
That's a good question.
If you and I, father and son, if we fought each other using clean Taekwondo rules, we filmed each other.
Right.
And then we filmed each other going at it by, I won't even say clean MMA rules, just of the rules of a professional bout for MMA. And we put them on at the same time, same cost, free or not free. Which one do you think people will look at more?
MMA one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you can say it's brutal, you can say it's this, you can say it's that, but
right.
In the end, if you're talking about making money, you're talking about being profitable, you got to go with what people are going to pay for. Now, I say this over and over again. I guess this is a theme with me. Don't get it twisted. I have a job that I work in the private sector that I do for the money. Okay? I'm not miserable at my job or anything like that. But I work that job, that career is for the money. And right now, I do make money off of martial arts, but that's not my primary living. So since that's not my primary living, I can be noble. I can say, like if the county says, we don't want you charging people for belts, I don't care because that's not how I make my primary living. And I can say, yes, that's noble. That's wonderful. That's great. Teach for little money, promoting for free and all this other stuff. But if I had a storefront, if that was my primary living, I had to pay the rent and I had to pay the gas and all the utilities and stuff like that. I had to pay the electricity and pay for the structural overhead and for the real estate. I'm going to have to charge you for everything. Every little thing. Because I need to make a profit in order to give you what you actually want. Oh, what's another like people You hear martial artists complaining about schools that give kids black belts. You see a lot of that on the internet. So you would think that if you go by what people say when they're complaining, that those aren't the popular schools. But what schools have you seen? And be honest, what schools have you seen be more popular?
The ones with kids and having black belts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go by what you would Google, you don't see that.
Right. Yeah, it's very well hidden.
Mm-hmm. But in the schools that you see people actually attend
Right.
are the schools where they give kids black belts.
Right. They don't like the fact that the kid has a black belt, but that's what they pay for.
Exactly. That kid's mama don't care about purity.
Right.
Now, a lot of people in martial arts, they get mad because they're like, oh, it's just become daycare. Oh, it's just become kiddie care and all this other stuff. And while people will pat me on my back for quote unquote teaching the right way, as opposed to people who talk smack about me behind my back for teaching the wrong way, same teaching. Okay. You don't know how many phone calls I've gotten where people act like it's something wrong with me because I'm just a class. I'm not doing it for money. I don't have before care. I don't have after care. I don't have a camp. You're just teaching the karate. It is not karate. Yes. And I say, you know what? Here's a school that's got before care and after care. And I just recommend somebody that I can think of that's doing it full time. The only way I would not recommend a school is if I know that there's something wrong with them. And I just won't mention them. I'm not going to. It is extremely rare for me to down talk any particular person. I just won't recommend you. That's not the same thing because everybody is not going to want what you have to offer. I just won't refer you there. I'll refer you someplace else. I mean, there's a school that's near us that's got plenty. They got plenty before daycare and aftercare. I just refer people to that school. I don't even say it because even though I'm not talking bad about them, because I mentioned their name, somebody will say, he talking about them. No, I'm not talking bad about them at all. I just mentioned it because it's right near me and you in there full time. So go there if that's what you want. And at the same time, though, but there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with before care and after care. I don't necessarily like the idea of kid black belts only because I don't want children to think that because they have a black belt, they can be the grown man. But now tell me if I'm lying about this. Remember when I had the toddler class and I used to ask, how many of you kids think that you can beat a grown man? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
How many of them will raise their hands?
A lot of them.
Not all of them. And had they even gotten a black belt?
No.
Did I tell them that they could beat an adult up?
No.
But what did they think? And once they could do a form and they could kick without falling.
They could beat a brain.
Mm-hmm. But the main title of this video is conscious. I think it said conscious rap or conscious martial arts. Do you pay for it? No, y'all don't pay for that. No, you don't. If there's anything you should try to learn from like the Karate Kid movies, even the one that is sort of out of canon now, that it was the Jada Smith one. Look at the teacher who's doing it, quote, right. Look at the teacher who's doing it, quote, wrong. Look at the teacher who's doing it to preach values. Look at the teacher who's doing it to get glory and victory and make a profit. Look at the rap that people do for values. Look at the rap that people do to sensationalize the street and get glory. Which of those two types of activities do people pay for? I put this on my Facebook post, and then I'm going to close because this video is starting to get long. I think I said, are you willing to pay me $150,000 a year for the rest of my life to have full benefits for a family of 4 in order for me to do hip hop? In order for me to do conscious for hip hop, I think that's what I said. Here we go. 2 questions. I can't read backwards, but as you can see, it's showing up backwards on the camera for me. See that? So I'm not making this up. 2 questions. Do you want rappers to make music that uplifts the Black community? Number 2, are you willing to pay me $150 a year plus medical and dental benefits for a family of 4 for the rest of my life to do so? Because if you're not willing to make that kind of investment, you're not serious about addressing the problem. And that's the same thing with all the problems that you see in martial arts. You want a dedicated instructor who is moral and all these other things, and who's always going to be there for you, who's not going to be worried about money and let you, come anytime you want and learn as many things as you can. Are you willing to pay for that? Because if you're not willing to pay for that, you're not serious. And at the same time, if you got a good storefront owner who can provide you all that stuff, he can charge you. He or she can charge you, and I hope that they do charge you. I don't think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, but I do think that I'm one of the best things that you can get for your money. And I hope you take advantage of it before it's no longer there. It's not going to be there forever, just for the simple fact that I am not immortal. So there is that. But also, my day job could come and take up all my time, and then I won't be able to teach anymore. There could be a personal problem that could come up where I wouldn't be able to teach anymore because I have to deal with family issues. Or if I ever went full time, the way that it is now is not going to be sustainable when I go full time at it. Even if I'm doing part-time for the next 20 years. Like if I do part-time until I'm like 70, 75, whatever, and then I switch over and teach full-time. The way that I'm teaching right now is not going to last forever because nothing lasts forever on planet Earth. Take advantage of it now because it is rare. And the proof is in the pudding because we don't like to pay a lot for conscious stuff, for positive stuff, for spiritual stuff. We think we're supposed to get that for free. And the things that cater to our flesh and give us the tingles, those are the things that we pay money for, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So next time you want to complain, I want you to go, how much am I willing to pay? So that I don't have to deal with that. If you want to know more about what I do and whatnot, go to my About tab on my channel. And for the people who are watching this live, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Peace.
You done?
Yep.
I'm people